All right, everybody. We are here. We are live. And welcome to day 3 of Stop What's Stopping You. All right, we have all kinds of people coming on board. Love it. And please make sure that you're on mute and also that your video is turned off so that we have less of a bandwidth. So, and by the way, guys, there may be a chance it happens. I heard yesterday there was a couple times that I froze. I don't actually really care about it. It's one of those things that happens. Sometimes it's out of your control. I just keep going. It doesn't matter. And in life, you gotta get over those little things that distract you and hold you back and, you know, take you off your path. It's not professional because the thing froze up or whatever. I don't have any control over that. Not only that, as you've heard, I live on a farm, so sometimes the string between the two cans gets wet. The signal um, isn't as good. But anyways, here we go. So stop what's stopping you. Put yourself on mute and also turn off your video. And if you're here in the chat room, just say, I'm here, I'm present, I'm ready to rock and roll. Here we go. Let me open up the chat so I can see some of those awesome things. Burley Heads. All right. Backflip on new learnings. I love that. Good morning. Sorry I missed yesterday. Hope I can get the recording. Yes, great. Thank you, Pam, for bringing that up. Today, the replays for day 1 will be available, and then day 2 will be next. Hey, John from Brisbane. Hi, Tanya. So they're coming out. And the only reason it's a kind of a day late is because the first day I had a glitch and I had to re-record. And so that's why they're coming out. But it's also a great way for you to digest what you've learned and then take on board the new things. So that works out. You're welcome, Pam. That's awesome. So here we go. Let me see if I can get my remote's not working, but who cares? All right. So Stop What's Stopping You Masterclass series. Today, I'm going to turn off some of this stuff so I don't have to see it. We're going to workshop all the stuff that we've been working on the last 2 days and really put it into an action plan. Today, you're also going to find out what is the number one biggest thing that's stopping you and how you can change it in only minutes. And then also how I'm going to help you achieve your grandest dream goals. So you're going to love this. And here we go. Rock and roll. Some real results from real people. Awesome. Can't wait to implement the changes. Thanks, Betty. I love that. That came in yesterday. Keurig, thank you for daily consistent is what I've been missing before through personal development. Very grateful. James is, by the way, a new member in the Life Success Club, and you got to read his comments. Just what it's doing for him. It's crazy. I love that. And by the way, I read all the comments. I read all comment sheets after programs and the rest of those things. Mike says, for the last 2 weeks, my question, how can I make it better, has resulted in the decision to ask at least one person to buy something from us every single weekday. And it's working. Pretty amazing. Thank you, Keurig. Love hearing the results. Today's agenda. Today, we're going to workshop and action plan everything, find out what's stopping you and how to change it in minutes, more support from me to help you achieve your grand dream goals. Who's excited about that? If you're here, say, I'm excited. Whee, I'm excited. I am excited. Sometimes people have to shoot me with a tranquilizer dart to get me off the ceiling. Anyway, so here are the Stop What's Stopping You masterclass. We're going to recap day 1. And again, guys, the reason I'm doing this, it's not filler. It's because repetition is the mother of all skill. You don't want to just learn this. You want to learn to master it. And there's a big difference in that. As we said over the last 2 days, is that, and again, this is a game changer. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of your communication, right? And so back in the early days, when personal development and things were on like cassette tapes, and my son thinks that when I was born, stuff was written on stone tablets. But anyways, with the cassette tapes and stuff, what I used to do is I used to get a personal development program. There might be 6 or 8 tapes in that set. And because I lived in Los Angeles in those days, what I used to do is I used to put one cassette in my car and listen to it for 30 solid days. Just let it loop over and over again, because I didn't want to I didn't want to just listen to it. I wanted to master it. I wanted to sound like those people. I wanted to think like those people. I wanted to be that to be my communication. Remember, the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your communication. I wanted to sound like that. I wanted to speak like that. I wanted to have those thoughts running around in my head. And so that was through consistent, spaced repetition. So at the end of the month, what I used to do then is put the second tape in and listen to it over and over and over again. And I used to do it from audio program to audio program. And the funny thing is I was building my career and getting going and all the rest of those things. People would say, "Man, you sound just like Wayne Dyer or Deepak Chopra or Bob Proctor or Napoleon Hill or Tony Robbins or whatever it was." And to me, I just kept saying thank you, because I'm a product of all the people that I've studied and learned and the rest of those things. And guess what? Those people, the way they got where they are is they became a byproduct of all the people they studied and learned. What most people don't understand is that Tony Robbins, he used to work for Jim Rohn. So when Tony was a teenager, he used to help Jim with his events and sell tickets and the rest of those things. And that's where Tony got his start. And, you'll hear a lot of Tony's quoting of Jim Rohn because of, his experience with him. So that's what this is. It's about consistent spaced repetition, because then you get to master it, and it's the thoughts you have. And remember that everything we're working on today is based in real proven science. It's the science of physics, and the law of physics, called the law of cause and effect, says that, I think it's on the next slide actually, is that for every result or outcome that you want, there is an action or series of actions that produces that result. And that's why, again, we want to master this stuff. We want it to be our regular habitual way of thinking and communicating and the rest of those things, because as we talked about yesterday, the number one key distinction between successful people, and I mean holistically successful people, and the masses. Now let's talk about the masses for a moment. Do you know that the number one most consumed drug on the planet are known as antidepressants? And by the way, if it's not the drug your doctor gives you, maybe it's the drug the guy in the street corner does. For a lot of people, it's retail therapy, which is shopping, or distraction of watching that fake reality TV. Because by the way, if you know anything about Hollywood, reality TV actually isn't real. It's all scripted. But people use it to distract themselves. They use it to distract their focus of where their life is really going, because it's so depressing. By the way, 60% of all marriages end in divorce, only to get married again, to get divorced again. The 65% of the population of the world now is overweight and out of shape. Obesity has hit epidemic proportions. Here in Australia, a number of years ago, not that long ago, we had a 10 years old, die of a heart attack from obesity. So think about that for a moment. So we want to really master this. You want to make it your life, because that's the masses. And the successful people, the holistically successful people, the key distinction between these two groups, because by the way, we all go through the same stuff. We all have family members that irritate you or piss you off or push your buttons. We all have relationship drama somewhere in your life. We all had to deal with the COVID drama. We all had to deal with the GFC, the global financial crisis, which by the way was so cool. We had to give it an acronym, the GFC, and people freaked out and they sold their homes because they wanted to make sure that, they could get the best deal for it at that time. And people lost their businesses and the rest of those things. Just so you know, more people have actually died from KFC than GFC, but I don't see people freaking out over the kernel. But as you see, we all go through the same stuff. The only difference is that successful people, we learn how to manage and how we think and feel differently. But that's the cause that produces a different effect, a different result, the outcomes that you want. So cause and effect, it's all science. And this is one of those things I know I've been asking you guys on the calls. It's one of those things that you should ask yourself literally every time you're working on a new goal, new project, whatever that is number one is on a scale of 1 to 10. And I want to see this in the chat room again today, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, 1 being the least. What is your willingness to learn? Do you have an open mind, or is it shut down and going, oh, I've already heard this before. I've seen Kirk before. I've read this in Think and Grow Rich or whatever it is. I don't care. So on a scale of 1 to 10, put it in the chat room, and we got 10, 10, 10 repetition. I love it. 10, 10. I love it. We got action takers. We got winners on our sides today. Also, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, 1 being the least, what is your willingness to change? To change. I hear a couple of people on open mic. So if you can, I could figure out probably how to mute everybody, but that might take too much work. Yeah, I don't know how to do it. Anyways, so please mute yourself just so that it doesn't become a distraction for everybody else. So 10, 10. Thanks, Bernie. Thanks, John. Thanks, Tanya. Tracy. Excellent. Because look, guys, if we're not going to change, nothing new is going to happen. It will change. I will tell you, whether you want it to or not. Unfortunately, though, it probably won't go in the direction that you want it to go. See, in life, either we evolve or we dissolve. We either grow or decay. So the law of vibration, see, again, a law of physics says the law of vibration says that everything's in motion. The law of polarity says that everything has to have polar opposite sides in order for it to exist. So that means you can't have a top without a bottom. You can't have an inside without an outside. You can't have a left without a right. It also means all your problems have solutions. All your challenges have opportunities. It's really going to come down to which side of the coin are you paying attention to. The law of relativity says that all the laws have to work in relationship with each other, right? So if you can combine the law of vibration with the law of polarity, what that says is that if we're not moving in one direction, by default, we have to be moving in another. So if we're not willing to change, it's going to get worse. So we have to open our mind up. And, you know, I love how motivating and inspiring you guys are in the chat room with 10, 10, 10. I can tell you, as I've done programs before where people say willingness to learn, 10, willingness to change, 3. You're not really learning anything if you're not willing to change. Awesome. So here we go. And remember, again, I said this yesterday numerous times, is that in order for things to change, I must change first. And what I kept repeating is that if you get nothing out of this 3-part masterclass series, then what's in front of you right now, in order for things to change, I must change first. It's completely valuable and life-changing. And you just say, you know what? Yeah, if I make some adjustments to myself, I'm not talking about wiping out the original you and trying to recreate a brand new you from scratch, because that's not going to happen. It's about making little incremental changes and making those changes to become habits. Well, I'll tell you, that's the difference between first and fourth at the Olympics. It's 1/100th or 1/1000th of a second difference in time if it's in the pool or whatever, or running. With some sports, it's 1 point between gold and fourth. Well, that's a lot. That little percent is a lot, because gold gets everything, fourth really gets nothing. You probably get a chump squeeze at the bar going, dude, that sucked. But anyways, for everybody else, that's massive. And if you keep stacking those little improvements that you work on within yourself on top of each other, man, in 3 months, 6 months, a year, you won't even recognize yourself. It's unbelievable. I still hear some people's mics open. If you can shut down your mic, that would be great. Put yourself on mute. Let me see if there's a way I can do that. I tried again, but I don't know. It's too much for me to look for. Here's the 3 musts that guarantee success. You got to have the right mindset. You got to develop new skill sets, and you got to have follow through. The fortune's always in the follow through. One of the things that I learned in Aikido, you know, through practicing martial arts, is that wherever your head goes, your body follows. And so that's why the mindset's so important, is because if we have a mindset that this isn't going to happen for me, I'm too old, I'm too young, you know, I'm not the lucky one, I'm born in the wrong country. I'll tell you that once there was a woman in Los Angeles that I was working with, a very attractive woman, and she said, "Hey, Keurig, the reason I'm not successful in life is because I'm so beautiful that nobody takes me seriously." Now listen to that mindset for a second. And she said, I said, you don't have any opportunities because you're so beautiful. And she goes, that's it. She goes, what it's like. And I go, look at me. Obviously I don't. Right. The thing is that imagine how much that's holding her back from achieving her grand dream goals in the life that she wants to have. Now, for most of us to be that attractive doesn't seem like that would be a penalty. But in her mindset, it is. If you read Maxwell Maltz's book, Psycho-Cybernetics, written in 1950, he was a plastic surgeon that realized, through just his practice of working with patients, that sometimes a person would have like a little bump on their nose. And to them, that bump was so giant in their mind that it literally debilitated them from succeeding or being happy in life. And so when he took off that little bump, being a plastic surgeon, he saw this whole personality come out. But that's all in mindset. I had a client in Brisbane years ago, and she was in a car accident and again caused a scar on her nose. Now, until she brought it up, I didn't even see that scar. I didn't even notice it ever. But to her, it was giant, right? Well, it was so giant that she couldn't even drive down that road without going into heavy anxiety and panic because of the car accident, what it did for her. And so by working with her and coaching with her to change that mindset, man, not only was she free to go down that road, but she's free to have everything else she wants. Then we have to develop new skill sets, right? And then that follow through. But think about that. What can't you produce when you have the right mindset, you develop new skill sets, and you follow through? Everything's available to you, right? And remember, it's physics, it's cause and effect. So you're guaranteed the results when you put that into action. And when I keep saying success, I mean holistic success. That means life success, success in all areas of your life, because what's the point of being rich if you're sick? A lot of people think once I make the money, it's going to solve all my problems. I'm going to tell you that's not accurate. I mean, think about it. If you're lonely and you go buy a big house to move into, well, now you're really going to be lonely because you have a lot of rooms to be lonely in. So it doesn't solve all the problems. It solves some problems like paying your bills and the rest of those things, but not all your problems. So it's really about having holistic success, and that means life success in all areas of your life. And holistic success is not biased, it's not prejudiced, it's not racist, it's not for lucky people or special people, it's not for having a special chromosome or the 13th zodiac sign, which doesn't exist. It's for anybody and everybody who puts the strategies into action, who puts the formula into action. And by the way, there's every country in the world, even some very impoverished countries, there's people who've made it out of the most poorest of situations to become successful financially, business-wise, health and fitness, relationship, whatever that is. There's people who made it out. Now, the media and a lot of people don't want to tell you about that stories because it sure kills the drama of the story of how bad things really are. But remember, when we keep telling disempowering stories, we create drama glue. And that drama glue keeps us stuck in the story and it debilitates us. And then all your friends are stuck listening to you, telling your drama stories, right? Free yourself. Stop telling the disempowering stories. Only tell those empowering stories. There's that mindset again about how you are going to make it, how you are going to fulfill your goals and dreams, and how you are going to get help, and how you are going to open your mindset up to be coachable and moldable and show me the way and I'll do it. But it's not prejudice. It's not biased. And the reason I put that slide up is I hear it from so many people. Oh, I'm not one of the lucky ones, Keurig. You get all the luck. And yeah, that's why I was homeless, living in my car numerous times. I was here in Australia when I first got here. I'm homeless in 2 countries where I can't even fly home to be homeless. I've been seriously depressed. I've been suicidal. I've used drugs, all the rest of the stuff. Just a helicopter crash I was in on a Chuck Norris film where 5 of my friends died and my best friend died in my arms. Life's not always easy. And no, I wasn't born with a golden spoon and life always turns out for me. By the way, I even got siblings who kind of tell me that, everything always works out for me. And I go, what about when I was homeless? And they go, oh, that was just a little glitch for you. I'm like, Yeah, I did it numerous times. By the way, I was poor most of my life. It was until I was around 40 when I finally started getting it. And I'm going to show you some of the things that happened to me that changed my mindset in order to produce that. We're going to work on that today. Oh, so let me go back. Is the three musts is you got to make a decision. A decision is where all change starts. I mean, if you decide that you're never going to touch another cigarette, you're never going to buy another cigarette, you'll never put one up to your face again, you're immediately, instantly a non-smoker. That's the power of a decision. And the universe, has to function off the laws of physics. Everywhere in the universe, the laws apply, as far as we know, right? And so that law of cause and effect, it's everywhere, but also evolve or dissolve, it's everywhere. So you'll notice that, and again, living on a farm, I get to study and watch nature, regularly. The other day, we were watching two red-bellied black snakes mating. It was like a David Attenborough segment. It was unbelievable to watch that live, don't get too close to him, by the way. But, when a tree dies in the forest, well, the whole time it's growing, growing, growing. But the moment the tree stops growing, it dies. Once it dies, it becomes fertilizer for the rest of the the rest of the forest, the bugs, the animals, the other plants, the rest of those things. The soil becomes richer. So as you see, the universe has to keep evolving. It has to follow the same laws of physics. Otherwise, it too will dissolve. As a totality, it has to evolve. So when we make a decision, the universe gets behind you. It's just a natural energy thing to help you do what you want to do, because it sees that you're evolving. And so it wants to make sure that you evolve because you're adding to the greater good of the evolution of the universe. It's powerful. That's the power of a decision. And it's not a should. Oh, I should get some training and I should do what Kirk's saying and I should. And most people just wind up shooting all over themselves. It's got to be a must. I got to do this. I have to do this. My life is on the line. My youth is on the line. I got to teach my kids and my family a different way to operate and be happy. Things that I go through in my life, guys, I teach my son. I talk to him about it, finances and business. And, last year, or a couple of years ago now, it wasn't last year, I had a wife who cheated on me and did all kinds of stuff and left, and it really hit me hard. But I shared it with my son and then showed him the strategies I used to get out of feeling bad. But I had to make a decision that I can't stay down long because my son, he's only going to be young now. He can't wait around for his dad to finally get his life back together after feeling terrible after what happened. So I used it as a teaching tool. But see, that comes from making a decision and then understanding what's on the line here. So it's got to be a must. Next is, and here's how you make a decision. We talked about this yesterday and the day before, and this is awesome. Because when you go, you know what, I'm done. I'm done feeling bad. I'm done feeling abused. I'm done being in an abusive relationship with somebody. I'm done being poor. I'm done being fat. I'm done being lonely. When you say I'm done, change happens. You got to say I'm done. Otherwise, you're complacent. You're making the best out of a bad situation and you're accepting it. That's complacent. So we don't want to be complacent. We want to just go, I'm done. And if you ever read How Would Love Respond, I was in a helicopter crash on a Chuck Norris movie called Delta Force 2. And every night for 2.5 years, I had a .357 Smith & Wesson pistol in my mouth every night, trying to pull the trigger to shoot myself. I had cocaine up my nose and drinking booze and cigarettes and all the rest of these things. Man, did I try quitting those things over and over and over again. The funny story I tell, it's more of a sick story than funny, but when I was smoking cigarettes in those days, I used to literally crush a pack of cigarettes, throw it in the garbage, going, yeah, I'm not doing this anymore, and blah, 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 I'm quitting and this and that. But see, when you say I'm quitting, what that makes you is a quitter. Well, when you're a quitter, you can also quit quitting. And so what happened was I'd go to the garbage can, an hour later, and I'd start taping cigarettes back together and then light it and smoke it to the tape, take the tape off, smoke the next. I mean, it was sick. So one day I said, you know what? This is it. I'm done. And I unscrewed a broom pole out of a broom and I held it over my head like a samurai warrior. And I cut a line in the sand behind my house in Los Angeles. And I said, once I step over this line, I'm done. I stepped over that line. I gave up cocaine. I gave up cigarettes. I gave up alcohol abuse. I gave all my guns away. I changed my life. My life today is a byproduct of that decision. So you got to go, I'm done. And the other thing is you got to let it go. You got to let it go. I get it. There's people who've hurt you. There's people who've wronged you. There's things that have happened. There's things that you've done yourself. You got to let it go. Because anything that we hold on to creates gravity and will drag us down. You just got to let it go. And by the way, you're forgiven when you work on yourself to make yourself better. Usually, by the way, great strategies come from originally using bad strategies, from things that you found out didn't work. So you got to go out and let it go. You got to let it go. Good judgment usually comes from having bad judgment. Let it go. You're forgiven as long as you work on yourself. But if you don't let it go, you continuously keep punishing yourself. Let it go. Buddha said detachment. You got to let it all go. Jesus said, let go and let God. Let the universe do its job. Let it go. And remember, here's how you make the decision. We think to create, feel to decide. Feel it. Feel your answer. You've never, in the chat room, let's see it. How many people here have ever known something, you felt it, and then you went against it? You consciously ping-ponged yourself by, oh, here's the pro, here's the con, and you did that decision instead of going with what you felt, and then you slap yourself in the forehead and you go, why didn't I just listen to myself? If you had that experience, yep, John's saying yes, overthinking it, absolutely. That's why you're such a great coach, John. Awesome. Yep. So that's why we got to feel it. And you got to develop that to keep trusting it, keep doing, because you'll get stronger and stronger at listening to your inner voice, because that is your voice. It's your spirit. It's you. By the way, just so you understand, is your body is a manifestation of your thought. The body doesn't think. The brain doesn't think. We're the thinker of our thoughts. That's your spirit. We manifested our body. And your body biochemically changes with every thought that you have. Right? So when you have positive thoughts, by the way, you put endorphins into your body and it cools off your brain and makes you feel happy. Antidepressants are produced just by having happy thoughts. By depressing thoughts, by the way, you create dis-ease in your body, and disease is the dis-ease. It's dis-ease. The dis-ease of your mind creates the disease of your body. So by feeling it, that answer is never going to be incorrect when you feel your answer. Again, this is a game changer strategy. Pam saying I need to let go of the negative chatter. How do you do that? Manage it. Don't try to get rid of it, Pam. Manage it. Sometimes you have those thoughts and you just go, oh, that's interesting. Don't give it any more energy than that. The more energy you give it, it grows up to be a, Godzilla to bite your head off. Kill the monster when it's a baby by just giving it no energy. Going, all right, interesting. Oh, it's interesting. Yeah, it's an interesting thought, but that's not the one I have. That's not the one I'm keeping. I'm going to think this, and then put in the thought that you do want to have. So as you're seeing, you're transforming your system. Well, the more you do that and then celebrate every time you do some of that, your brain's going to get faster and faster because it makes a neural association or a neural connection between what you're feeling and what you're experiencing. Well, if you make these changes and you celebrate it, your brain goes, I love this. This feels great. Well, pretty soon it wants to do more and more of it. But are you ever going to be perfect at it? Probably not. If people go, do you ever have, oh, my internet's dropping off quite a bit. I don't know why. I don't know. We'll keep going. There's not much I can do about it. So it hopefully it will all be in a recording and in the playback. Stay with me. We can tell, by the way, I have Elon Musk's Starlink. I'm one of the first 100,000 people who have Starlink, which is kind of cool, except for there's gaps in between satellites sometimes. And the other night, I got up in the middle of the night to walk the dogs, And I thought there was an alien invasion because I looked in the sky. It was crazy. And it was Elon Musk launching another 50 satellites. It was quite awesome to see, but quite scary when you're at 3 o'clock in the morning. How do you hone into you feel if you're 90%, 99% in your head and 1% in your heart? Joe from Brisbane, that's a great question. And what that would be is practice. Go in a room, quiet room. Everyone put themselves on mute, please. I'm trying to find participants. Who's not on mute? There we go. I don't want to put myself on mute. Anyways, and so go into a quiet room, get yourself in a good emotional place, and ask yourself, what does a yes feel like? And just feel it. And ask a few times, what does yes feel like? What does a yes answer feel like? And then, take a breath, take a couple deep breaths and go, what does a no answer feel like? What does a no answer feel like? And all of a sudden you're like, wow, it does feel different. And you start to become what's called sensory acute. You can start paying attention to the little details because, by the way, your body, your mind, your spirit is always communicating. It's always communicating. And it's about developing in yourself that ability to be able to listen to your true self. Does that make sense? I hope that was of value to you, Joe. And John saying, yeah, he saw the Starlink rollout as well. And so next is commitment. That means being consistent. You're not going to get the results that you want if you just do it once in a while. It's about being consistent and being consistent at the point where it makes it your habit. By the way, there's 3 kinds of habits. There's disempowering habits, there's neutral habits, and there's empowering habits. Disempowering habits are obviously below the line, things like overeating, smoking cigarettes, things like that, negative self-talk. Those are disempowering habits. Why? Because they take your power away from you. If you have neutral habits, well, that's a habit that doesn't really help you or hurt you. It's just neutral, which would mean is like you drive the same way to work every day. Things like that. It doesn't really hurt you or help you. It's just a habit. And then there's empowering habits, which are the habits that give you power, give you energy. So reading your goals every day, exercising regularly, eating high, great quality of food, things like that. Well, how do you transform that? Well, the answer would be is, and by the way, transformation, ATION means the experience of, trans means to go beyond, and form means what you have right now. So transformation is the experience of going beyond what you have right now. So how do we transform that? Well, take some of your negative habits, your disempowering habits, and turn them into empowering habits. So as I told you before, one of the things I used to do is smoke cigarettes after the helicopter crash. Well, once I gave up being a smoker and became a non-smoker again, one of the things, if you know me, my son talks about it all the time, is that no matter when you see me, I always have a bottle of water with me in the car, on the plane, speaking engagements here in front of me. I always have water. Why? Because smoking is a hand-to-mouth habit. And usually after people quit smoking, they go to overeating. And then they go, I'd rather be a thin smoker than a fat non-smoker. So they go back to smoking again. But with water, if it's in your hand, you'll drink it. There's that hand-to-mouth habit. So I turned a disempowering habit into an empowering habit. Also, since you're spending that money on cigarettes every day or whenever it is, still spend it, but instead spend it on maybe put it in an investment account. So the same thing that was killing you now is making you wealthy, turning a disempowering habit into an empowering habit. And then turn some of your neutral habits into empowering habits. How do you do that? Well, if you're driving to work the same way every day, what if you had personal development playing in your car and you were listening to it? So instead of just driving or maybe listen to the news or, some radio station or something, listen to something that's going to change your life. Maybe it's learning how to do business better or, podcasts or whatever that is, something to enhance your life. And then just develop some new successful habits. So transform disempowering habits into empowering habits, transform neutral habits into empowering habits, and develop new empowering habits. Be consistent with those. They become your habit. Your life is so different. You're in awe of what you produce and what you get to experience and the goals that you get to achieve. Next is investment. You got to put in to get out. It makes sense. And if you look at the word investment the way I do, investment, I invest in me. It's right there in the word. The best investment you can make is in your own personal development. It's investing in yourself. And that's what you're doing today. And I hope this is of value to you, right? Because, you could be like watching Jerry Springer right now. I don't know. I mean, no Jerry's on anymore. But my point is that you're spending your time here. And that's why I want to make the most valuable possible by giving you everything I can to help you transform your life to the next level. And by the way, your life doesn't have to be in a toilet to make it better. I'm always working on making it better. My life, that is, and everybody I work with. And that's going to come through consistent daily improvement. And if you see my graph here, the bottom line represents your everyday life. The line on the left side that says 100% at the top, that's how much you can grow. And as the example here is, what if you just grew by 1% and you stayed consistent with that? Well, look at your trajectory change from the original line you were living on, and what happens with that. 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, a decade. It's mind-blowing the results you're going to produce just by being consistent. But with consistent daily improvement, if you keep asking that magic question, how can I make it better? Well, you're going to improve and improve and improve. So you're going to be stacking those percents on top of each other. It's unbelievable. It's stratospheric what you're going to produce for yourself. And I look at my life today, and by staying consistent with working on myself, it's my ritual, it's my habit. The life I get to live, the people I've got to spend time with and work with, the celebrities and President of the United States and 5 prime ministers of New Zealand and the Prime Minister of Australia and, Richard Branson and all kinds of crazy people I've been able to hang out with and learn from and be around and stuff. That comes from me working on myself consistently, because it starts changing your frequency, and different people and different opportunities start showing up in your life easily and automatically. And I know it's sometimes hard to believe, because people think, well, you were in Hollywood and stuff. Yeah, just so you know, there's hundreds of thousands of union actors in Hollywood, and less than 6% make a living at it. So you might say you're an actor or whatever. So for me to be friends with Sylvester Stallone and John Travolta and those things that I did, that's not an accident, and it's certainly not luck. And it wasn't something I tried to force to have happen. It was by being in my energy and who I am, where they kind of approached me in its own weird way, right? So it's about having that frequency, and that's going to come from you changing how you consistently think, how you consistently feel, and the actions that you take. And that would come from CDI. And this is a game changer comment right here, which is, most people overestimate what they can do in the short term, but underestimate what they can do in the long term by being consistent. And remember, here it is, that magic question again: how can I make it better? Life-changing. By the way, again, I'm not religious. My mom was Jewish. My dad was Christian. I was just really confused. The Bible says, ask and it will be given. What that means is that any question that you ask, the brain has to answer it. If you don't answer it, it feels incomplete. A lot of times when you go to bed at night, you can't go to sleep because your brain's running on. It's because you asked so many questions during the day and you never took the time to answer them. So your brain's answering them now, right? And then most people ask questions like, why can't I go to sleep? Why am I still awake? Why, well, by the way, that's just keeping you more awake. But if you ask a better question, like, how can I feel peaceful and go to sleep right now? Or what am I thinking about right now that's making me feel relaxing and sleepy? See, always ask questions that are focused on the outcome that you want. Always ask questions that are focused on the outcome that you want. Do I have to repeat that? Always ask questions that are focused on the outcome that you want, and you'll get the answers. And those are strategies. Just put those strategies into action, and guess what? You get the outcome that you want. How can I make it better? Powerful question, because it's about evolution. It's about, how do I make everything in my life better? How do I increase the level of my health and fitness? How do I make it better? How do I increase the love and connection in my relationship with my partner or my kids, partner and kids? How can I make it better? life-changing question. Be consistent using CDI and make being successful your habit. This is a curicism of all curicisms, and that is success is easy when you make it your habit. I don't really have to work really hard at things because I've made them my habit. And I teach you how to do that. And by the way, that's what the whole Life Success Club is about, is teaching people strategies that they implement little by little and put into play so that they become your habit. And the results that people produce is mind-blowing, not just for me, for them. They're in awe. And it wasn't hard. See, because that's a fallacy that in order to succeed in life, you got to work hard. My dad worked hard his whole life. He just got a hard life. Whatever you plant is what you grow. But imagine if you start making your life easier and more peaceful and more enjoyable, and that's your habit. What kind of life are you going to have then? Also, get help to be held accountable. Find somebody that you respect, somebody that has the results, somebody that you trust to hold you accountable so that you stay on that line. Because when you look at the CDI graph, this bottom line is we're on this trajectory here. This bottom line has a thing called gravity. That's your old conditioned patterns and habits, and they want to pull you back. And so we go off the line. Well, what I do with my clients and people that I work with is I hold them accountable to stay in that line. I keep nudging you back on the line until pretty soon this becomes your consistent habit. So if it's not me, go find somebody immediately, because otherwise the only thing you get out of this lifetime is called older, and that sucks. You know, you don't want to get to the end of your life and go, I should listen to that bald, crazy American dude because I'd be farther away in life, right? Instead, be held accountable. And so here we go. Stopping you, day 2 recap. And we'll go through this quite quickly. The formula for creating everything that you want. Number 1, you got to reinvent yourself. You can't be who you used to be and think that life's going to change. Well, get better. It's going to change. It's just probably going to get worse. Got to reinvent yourself. And in that, you have to learn how to manage how you think and feel differently, right? Number 2, set grand dream goals. Successful people, we don't set small piddly goals, because small piddly goals don't inspire you. You're not passionate about them, and you certainly don't learn much from going after them. But man, when you're going after grand dream goals, you got to reinvent yourself. You got to learn new strategies. You got to learn how to ask for help and network. You got to do all kinds of different things. Well, that expands who you are as a person. And I will tell you that the growth that you produce is going to dwarf any goal that you could ever have anyways. So years ago, when I was stranded here in Australia, because the company that brought me here left me stranded and never paid me for a year, and I went through all my savings trying to stay alive, I went to do free seminars to pay for to sell people into a paid seminar I was going to do. Through that, I sold 488 seats. Now here's the goal. I want to make money to be able to get myself back to the States. I put 488 people in the seats. At that program, I broke the world's record for firewalking and did 81 meters or 266 feet of 1200 degree Fahrenheit, 600 degree centigrade coals, right? So, Celsius coals. And, after the whole program's over, the promoters ripped me off and said, we didn't make a dime, didn't make 10 cents. So I made no money. So I failed at the goal. Yet I broke the world's record for firewalking. I was on CNN. I was on all these news outlets. At those free seminars leading up to the paid seminar, at one of them, I said in the audience, who here remembers the person who stood on the 3rd box at the Olympics? And because of that, Natalie Cook was in the audience, bronze medalist from beach volleyball, the 96 Atlanta Olympics, and asked me to work with her to take her to win gold in Sydney, which I did. At one of those free seminars, I met the person who became my first wife, Marie. All kinds of things happen. By the way, you guys listening to me right now is a ripple effect of the growth that I've produced from that one goal I had of trying to make money at that seminar to change. By the way, I never left. Obviously, I'm still here 24 years later. But as you see, the growth dwarfs the goal, because even if I would have made $1 million at that event, which there was no way possible for do that, but even if I did, I've made way more money than that over the last 24 years by being consistent and capitalizing on the growth that's built within me from the experiences I have and going after grand dream goals. And like I said yesterday, is with my book, How Would Love Respond? I didn't want to write a book. I wanted to write a #1 bestseller. My new book that I'm writing right now, I got people in Hollywood already talking to me about making it into a movie. See, because I want to expand myself again. I want to grow again, another level. Then #3 is take immediate and consistent, effective action, not massive action, effective action. #4, test and measure, just to make sure that you're on track. And if you got to make any adjustments to it, that's not even a hard one to understand. Networking, don't try to do it just by yourself. Ask for help, network with people, mastermind with people. People also hold you to a higher standard. They won't let you stay down long. They're like, hey, pick yourself up. Let's go. Staying down is not going to help you. And if you're not networking, you're not working. Also, contribution. Give energy, give time, give information, give money away to, because you activate what's called the law of circulation. You have to give to get. The law of circulation. There's another one, is laws of physics. So yes, it is a real thing that happens to produce real holistic success in your life. And last but not least is follow through. The fortune is always in the follow through. So time to reinvent yourself. It is now day 3. Time to workshop. Who's excited? If you're excited, say, I'm excited in the chat room. And I'm saying I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited. Bernie's got emojis and I'm excited. I like that. He took the time for the emojis. So here's the workshop. Let's go for it. That was not a bad picture, right? That photograph, by the way, you'll notice the Rocky statue behind Sly. That's his house. I was invited by Sly to watch the Super Bowl. So we're at his house, but that house he doesn't live in anymore. He sold that house to Adele recently. But anyways, Sly's been a mentor of mine. He's been an inspiration of mine. And one of the things, the reason I have this picture up is because I used to live in my car in Los Angeles, and more than once. And sometimes I've lived in my car for close to almost a year and a half. It sucks, by the way. It's not glamorous. It's not. It's a good story now, but it sucked. And when I was doing my first movie called Two of a Kind with John Travolta, Living in John Travolta invited me out to dinner and said, I'll pick you up. And I'm like, no, that's not a good idea. I'll meet you at the restaurant. And he insisted. And I said, John, I live in a Hotel Cadillac. He's like, you live in a hotel what? I go, Cadillac. And he goes, where? And I told him the streets. He goes, it's a residential neighborhood. There's no hotels there. And I go, oh, you'll see it tomorrow when you pick me up. Right. Well, he comes around in a stretch limousine to take me to dinner to hang out. And I'm leaning on my car, which is a 1972 Coupe de Ville Cadillac, which wasn't even a mobile home anymore because it didn't run anymore. It was just stranded. And that's where I lived. And by the way, I lived there for like a year. And he started to cry. He said, I can't believe you're homeless. I said, John, at least I got a Cadillac. I can stretch out. You know, it's better than, sleeping next to your car where dogs pee on you every morning. It's not good. And he got emotional and he got tears in his eyes. And I said, John, don't get emotional. Would you like a tour? And he would, yeah, okay. And so I sat him in the back seat. And there's my pillows and my blanket and the rest of the stuff. This is my bedroom. I walked into the front seat, sat down again. He goes, okay, what room's this? I go, it's entertainment center. See, I got a radio and a dashboard, and I got this big windscreen, which is like a big screen TV. Man, crazy stuff happens out there in LA, I walked him around to the boot. That's where my wardrobe was, my clothes. I said, you probably don't want to see the bathroom. But that was my reality in those days. And so Sly used to regularly say to me, because he would invite me up to his house for Christmas and parties. And I went to Vegas for Mike Tyson fights with him and all kinds of crazy stuff. And I'd be at Sly's house for Christmas one year. And a guy walks up to Sly's. I'm standing there talking with him. And he goes, why do you always have Keurig here? He's a loser. He's homeless, man. Like, we have no other friends. I go, I'm right here. I can hear you. And he goes, I don't care. You're a loser. And Sly said to him, he said, it's just Keurig's working on his mindset. And it's just a matter of time that his results will catch up with his mindset. But one of those mindsets that Sly used to always tell me about, he said, money is a mindset. And when you get the mindset, the money shows up. And I said to him, well, that's easy for you because you got the money. And he goes, that's where you're that's where you're having problems right now. He goes, Keurig, the way I make the money is I started with the mindset first. Well, just before COVID, where this picture is taken, I was invited to Beverly Hills to have lunch with Sly and Arnold Schwarzenegger. You know, here I am with like 6 people at the table. One's Sly, one's Arnold, one's me, and then, you know, Sly's brother, Frank, and 2 other friends. And as I walked in the door of the restaurant for the first time, Sly looked at me, stands up, gives me a hug, and he goes, looks like you finally got your mindset right. I said, yeah, Sly, you remember? And he goes, man, you were funny. You were so resistant trying to say, you know, resist it. It's a mindset. And he said, man, if we've been following your progress in your book and everything else, God bless you. It's all mindset. Wherever your head goes, your body follows, right? So you got to start working on that mindset. And that means that you got to be coachable. You got to be teachable. You got to get somebody to hold you accountable. That's the mindset. And you got to invest in yourself consistently in your personal development. And by the way, when you go to Sly's house, I've been to all kinds of successful people's houses, they all have a library. And the funny thing is, if you look at their library and you look at my library, a lot of times I do this, I notice we have the same books. Why is that? Because that's how we got to be who we are. My bookshelf in my house, it doesn't have murder mysteries. It doesn't have romance novels. It's all about stuff that's going to help me grow my life, my business, whatever that is. And I used to lend those books out only until most of those books never came back and were never even read. And I'm like, where's my book? And they go, oh, I gave it to somebody else. Why? I was lending it to you. But see, I learned that, you know what? If people invest in themselves, there's a better chance they're going to use it. And so giving away free stuff, people didn't read the books. I gave free seminar tickets away. People didn't show up. Or if they did, they were in a parking lot smoking cigarettes. But the funny thing is when people stretch themselves and invest in themselves, there's a better chance you're going to use it. And that's a mindset. And for me, it was a mindset shift on how I operated, where I was giving all this free stuff away and then upset that people weren't using it. I mean, I paid for 5 people to go to an Anthony Robbins program back in the early 90s. And guess what? 4 of them never showed up. 1 showed up the first day and never came back again. I was pissed off. I was angry. And when I talked to Tony about it, he said, well, you just learned a valuable lesson that I've learned a few years ago, which is if people don't invest in themselves, they don't value it. There you go. So mindset. Here is one of those things that changes your mindset immediately every time you say this to yourself. But by the way, it's not that you say it, it's how you say it. Wallace D. Wattles, who wrote the book, The Science of Getting Rich, said that getting rich or enriched, I'm going unstable for a moment. He said that getting rich or enriched, which means your whole area of your life, is not a result of doing certain things. It's doing things in the certain way. And that certain way that he's talking about is passion and enthusiasm. Anything you've ever been great at in life, it's the stuff that you're passionate about. And when you're passionate, man, you eat up, you consume everything that's going to help you get what you're passionate about. So when you say with passion, I don't know how I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do it anyways, man, it shuts down that you have to know how it's all going to happen, that you have to have the whole master plan. You're just saying, I'm doing it anyways. And the only thing you have to know in life is where you are, where you want to be, and what's the first step. Do the first step, complete the first step. It will show you the second step. But man, you follow that formula, you get to your goals way faster with way less activity. But you got to have this definitive statement in there, which is, I don't know how it's going to happen, but I'm going to do it anyways. And if you ever study successful people, read Richard Branson's book, Losing My Virginity, Arnold Schwarzenegger's autobiography. Everybody I've read, people studied. Somewhere in that reading, there it is. I was at that point where I didn't know how I was going to do it. I just decided I was going to do it anyways. I didn't create this line. It's just one of those things that I've said myself. And I noticed that it was being said by other people who've also created great successes in their life. Also, show me the way and I will do it. Show me how to do it and I'll do it. And I'm going to put it into instant consistent, effective action. And remember, this is so important to reinvent yourself. You got to have the mindset, develop the skill sets, and follow through. And you got to learn how to manage how you think and feel. If we go back for a second and we look at this and we go, I don't know how I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do it anyways, is imagine how that changes how you feel when you first start to get overwhelmed about going after a new goal or a grander goal, and you're going after it and you're like, oh my God, it's so overwhelming, so daunting, whatever. And then you change it by saying, I don't know how I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do it anyways. It instantly changes your emotional state. And then when you feel different, you're going to act different, and that's going to produce different results. So manage how you think and feel. And here's how you're going to do that. Get great at SEX. Some people are, all right. Some people are like, okay, this is not what I was expecting. And I'm going to tell you, it's probably not what you were expecting anyways by seeing this, but at least I got your attention. If I got your attention, yeah, put it in the chat room. Yeah, I'm excited. I got it. You got my attention. John's excited. Yep, we're excited. Yep, sure, got it. All right, here we go. S stands for strength, right? In order for you to succeed in life, you got to have strength. You got to be really strong, because if you're not, you will buy into the hallucination that the outside world can dictate how you think and feel, which means that you become a victim to everything going on. You got to be strong. You got to be strong when the economy changes. You got to be strong when there's changes in your business. You got to be strong because there's so many naysayers and negative people out there in the world. You got to be strong. So you got to have strength. And how do you get strength? Well, there's 4 main muscle groups that need to be strong: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Those are your 4 main muscle groups, and they have to all be strengthened, because if you don't one of those areas, the weak link of the chain will give up the entire chain, right? So all 4 of those areas need to be strengthened. And how do you do that? Well, that would be through exercise. See, I told you this wasn't what you think. And exercise, well, what's the exercise for physical? Move your body. Go to the gym, do sports, dance, run, walk, skip. I don't care. Motion creates emotion. Now, obviously, that would also be water intake and quality food. But the physical, we got that one. Mental, it's a powerful muscle. Wherever your head goes, your body follows. So what's the exercises for that? Well, go to personal development programs, listen to audio programs, read books. I know a great one. I would love to respond. Work on your mental muscle every day. That's why I'm always reading. I'm always studying. I'm always learning new things. And by the way, it doesn't always have to be personal development and making money in business. Maybe you want to learn about pottery, or like one of the things I'm new at is I'm a beekeeper. I got 3 beehives now on the farm. And so I've joined the bee club of beekeepers, and I went to a beekeeping course and the rest of those things. But all of a sudden you got a whole new network of people that you got something in common with. And a lot of times, like I just talked to a person yesterday who was inquiring about becoming a one-on-one client with me. And guess what her business is? Honey. And because I'm a beekeeper, we had a common ground again and something to talk about. So it's powerful. Keep expanding yourself. Nothing's wasted. Keep building that muscle. Now, emotional. Emotional. Emotion is a very powerful muscle, because we're not rational creatures. We're emotional creatures. If we were rational, nobody'd be in prison. The Bali 9 wouldn't be strapping drugs to their body when Chappelle Corby's on trial for carrying drugs in Bali. That wouldn't make sense. That's not rational. But since those were young people, 19, 20 years old, somebody offered them like $20,000 to do that. Well, for them, that got them emotional, because that sounded like, millionaire. $20,000. And by the way, they didn't do it once. I'm not commenting on, them or whatever it is, but that's not rational to spend your life in prison for 20 grand. And some people got the firing squad. That's not rational. So what are the exercises for emotional? Well, Hang out with positive, happy people instead of pissed off, angry, negative people, your family. I'm kidding. Just because by the way, just because you came out of the same womb doesn't mean you're always going to be the best of friends with those siblings. It happens. It's just the way it is. Okay, let it go. Go find your life and the people around you. By the way, my friends are the family members that I've earned. They're valuable to me. My son, that's the biggest part of my family, right? My other family, my siblings that live on the other side of the world, I love them. We're just different. Not better or worse, just different. And so, my little thing, my curicism for myself is anybody or anything that doesn't support my happiness, I let go of. I let it go. I just let it go. I don't get caught up in the story anymore. I just let it go. And if I do get caught up for a little bit, I manage that and I let it go quicker. So hang out with positive, happy, successful people. Again, listen to personal development, work on your body. Motion creates emotion. And last but not least is spiritual. Spiritual is not religion. Spiritual means self-love. The Bible says if you do not know love, you do not know God, because God is love. Love is the most powerful force in the universe. And every condition we have in this lifetime is a self-love issue. I mean, if you really loved yourself, would you allow yourself to be poor? Would you allow yourself to struggle? Would you allow yourself to stay stressed out? Would you overconsume too much alcohol? Would you stick drugs in your body? No, that's not how love responds. Love would want you to have everything you want. So, what are the exercises for it? Be kind to yourself. Instead of criticizing yourself, start acknowledging yourself for everything you're doing approximately right and leave all the criticism alone. And all the rest of the things in here. So think about this for a moment. Let's say you went to the gym and you had your headphones on listening to personal development, right? Maybe it's a Life Success Club and you're listening to it. Well, now you're exercising your physical, you're exercising your mental, because you're moving your body and you're doing good things for yourself. You're working on your emotional and your spiritual at the same time. So you can work on all four of these these muscle groups at the same time. Just be consistent with it. And that's why every morning I get up and I read my goals and my affirmations and I listen to audio programs and I meditate and I do all kinds of different things because I fill my tank up every day to feel great so that when I walk out into the world, man, you have a different vibration going on. Things are differently attracted to you. But also is if you walk out into the world and you leave that tank empty, don't be surprised that people throw their garbage in your empty vestibule. Fill it up every day. And last but not least, the X is excitement. See, I told you it wasn't what you thought it was. Excitement. As I said, Wallace D. Waddell said, getting rich or enriched is not the result of doing certain things. It's doing things in the certain way. That's with passion and enthusiasm. So do all these things with passion and enthusiasm, man, you're going to watch your life change. Unbelievable. You won't recognize yourself. People around you will be saying, how are you moving so fast and creating so much? That's crazy. You don't even look like you're that busy. How are you doing that? This is how. And how many people, because I need to see this in the chat room. Let me open up the chat one more time because I just closed it down. Is how many people were on a call yesterday and wrote out your GDGs last night? Remember, that was your homework. Write out your grand dream goals and then circled your top 3 grand dream goals. How many people did that yesterday? Tracy says yes. Karen says yes. John, yep. Awesome. So it's important. And by the way, guys, if you missed the first 2 calls, the playback, the replay will be, the first one will be available today, actually, and the other ones, but we're going to still go through this and still be valuable. Bernie says yes. Awesome. Yes, did the GDGs. Awesome. So iPhone 13. It's amazing your phone saying yes. I don't know who that is, but that's awesome. Who is that on the iPhone 13 Pro Max? Joe from Brisbane says yes. Answer might not come up right away. Anyways, let's go into the workshop and I'll try to see that in a moment. So with with your grand dream goals, here's how you're going to write out your grand dream goals. Now, remember, we chose our top 3 goals yesterday. Now, top 3 doesn't mean the easiest to get or the ones that will happen the fastest. They're the ones that will give us the most amount of joy to experience. Because when we're going after our real grand dream goals, it pulls in other goals with it. But also, since time is a limited commodity we have, well, since you're going to run out of time one day, you might as well be going after the things that give you the most amount of joy to experience. Does it make sense? So here's how you write those out. And by the way, you're going to do this for each of your 3 goals. Now, the reason I say only 3 goals is because, remember, we got to do things with passion and enthusiasm, as Wallace D. Wattles taught us in The Science of Getting Rich. Well, if you have like 50 goals or 25 goals, when you have to read them every morning and every night, what happens is you don't read them with passion and enthusiasm anymore. You read them just to get through them because it's such a long, arduous task. So by having 3 grand dream goals, first, you're not focused isn't all over the place. It's more focused on these specific things, but also is, how long will it take you to read 3 goals with passion and enthusiasm every morning and every night? See, so there is a method to my madness. And by the way, I have broken this down to the minute strategies to get it the best of the best so that you get the best results. And why did I do it? I did it for my own life first, because I lived in a lot of pain. Homeless sucks. Depression sucks. So I worked on myself and I kept studying. I'm hungry and I still look for distinctions and tools. I'm still hungry for it. This is the best of the best. So here's how you're going to write out each of your 3 goals. You're going to start by saying, I am so happy and grateful that. Now, why would you say that? Well, because we want to make neural connections or neural associations between what we're feeling and what we're seeing in our mind, which would be our goals. And so if you say, I'm so happy and grateful, well, first, you've actually made it your identity by saying, I am. And it's pretty hard to be depressed when you're saying, I'm so happy and grateful, and you're saying it with passion and enthusiasm. By the way, the word enthusiasm, the root word of the word is entheos. It's a Greek word that means the God within. As you can see, you get a little more power on your side when you're enthusiastic. So I'm so happy and grateful that, and by the way, if you're grateful in advance, it tells your brain it must be coming. Why? I'm already grateful. So all of a sudden, the doubt starts going away. Now, you might still have some, but we're managing it. Then you're going to write out your grand dream goal in the present tense as if it's already happening. And then you're going to put the words on or before. And then I want you right now for your top 3 goals, just take a second real quick and put a due date on it. Now, before you write, let me give you the criteria on it. This is not a deadline. It's a due date. If you put stuff way out in the future, like a year, 3 years, whatever, you won't get to it. Why? Your brain goes, oh, I got plenty of time, I'll get to it. And you don't. It goes on the back burner. So use a shorter time frame that forces you into action, because remember, it's on or before. That means the goal can actually happen sooner. So with how would love respond when I was writing it, what I would do is set a goal and say 3 months. Now, I type like this, so there was no way that was going to happen. I read it every morning, every night with passion and enthusiasm. And because of that, I kept writing every day because I was trying to hit my goal. When I hit that due date, and by the way, I kept working right up to the due date until that day was finished. Then I would just reset the due date and keep going. I didn't break stride. Well, the book took me 4 years to write and get published and get out. But I kept setting 3-month due date on it because it kept me in motion. So have a due date on there. Now, if you say today, that's great, but you might really want to kick yourself into gear. So have a due date on there that is reasonable on some levels, but not way out here, because you won't get to it. It's just, I don't know where I'm going to be 3 years from now or what I'm going to be doing. I don't know if I'm going to be on the planet. Nobody knows. So put something on there that kicks you into action. And if you see, there's my voice is cracking. I woke up today and Julie said, man, I love that seminar voice you're getting. It's all deep and crusty and stuff. So anyways, it works on some levels, but otherwise it starts to crack on me. So here's the example. It says, I'm so happy and grateful that I have helped 1,000 people become inspired millionaires on or before December 31st, 2022. That's one of my goals. Is I want to help 1,000 people become millionaires and become financially free, but it's got to be holistic. So it's about all your life, right? And so that's a goal. So you see that I'm saying so happy and grateful that my goal is written in the present tense as if it's already happening, that I have helped. It's already happened. Because here's the thing, guys, if we're thinking about our goal in the future, our brain sees that on the image of our mind, and we're going to produce that exact image, which is we're here and the goal's out there. But and then by the way, when you get into the future, the goal's going to be more in the future. But if you see yourself with the goal right now, we'll create whatever we keep seeing consistently on the image of our mind, because we think in pictures. So if you keep seeing yourself with the goal right now, you'll start to produce that exact image. And that's why it's exactly written this way and done this way. Pam saying, I'm so happy and grateful to be here. Pam, I'm happy and grateful that you're here. That's wonderful. Thank you for that. And then, guys, remember, ask and it will be given. This is one of what I call my morning power questions. And I read it every day. First, I read my goals out loud with passion and enthusiasm. And I read my power questions. And one of those questions is right here in front of you. And that is, what 3 effective actions am I taking today to achieve my grand dream goals? Now, if you notice, it didn't say, should I take today or whatever. It says, I am taking them today. And now whatever answer comes to your mind, just do it. Don't question it. Don't judge it. Don't knock it down. That's stupid. How's that going to happen? Sometimes it might be, your brain says, go to your local cafe and, buy yourself a coffee and lunch. Think, well, how's that going to hit my goals? And then you're driving there and you see a billboard that stimulates your thought or idea, or you meet somebody there, or there's something that happens. I don't know why it's telling you to do that. Just do it. See, because here's the thing, guys. If you did the exact thing that I did to build my career when I first came to Australia by doing 5 free seminars a day, 6 days a week for 8 weeks, I can't guarantee you that there'd be a bronze medalist in the audience that would say, take me to win gold. And then you actually would win the gold medals or all the other things that have happened to me. So it's really not about what actions it takes. It's about what actions do you need to take? What effective actions do you need to take for your goals? Well, nobody knows that better than you. And by asking a question, you're going to stimulate those ideas and just do it. But imagine if every day you're stacking a minimum of 3 effective actions towards your goals every day, how rapidly you're going to be achieving your goals. It's crazy what happens. And as I said yesterday, is people who've been to my 2-day programs, Life to the Max programs, my retreats, the rest of those things that I do, they have what's called your toolbox. It's your notebook, right? Because I call it a toolbox because you'll be using those toolboxes, those tools for the rest of your life. And you want to make sure you treasure that. And how many people find that notebook years later and they open it up and they go, oh my goodness, I've achieved every one of those things on the goal list. I don't remember going for a lot of them. I don't remember writing them down, every one of them. That's by asking this question, because when you're going after your grand dream goals, it pulls in other goals to be achieved with it, because it's an energy and it brings things with you. So what 3 effective actions am I taking today to achieve my grand dream goals? Who thinks this question is of massive value to you and achieving your grand dream goals? Right in the chat room. Because I'm going to have some water for my croaky voice. Awesome. Awesome. Great. All right. So I promise you this from the very beginning, and that is, what is the #1 thing that creates procrastination, and how do you change it in a minute? So what's the #1 thing that's holding you back? And that is having no GDGs, no grand dream goals. And that's why we've already put this into action. It's people who have impotent goals. As I said earlier, only 3% of the population ever writes down their goals. Then for the people who do write down their goals, most of the people don't write down what they really want to experience. What they write down is what they think they can get and easiest, because they feel like, well, if I write something down and I don't get it, I'm going to feel bad. Well, you're never going to get it if you don't write it down. But they don't go for grand dream goals. They go for goals that they measure out or they calculate that they think they can get, and they go for those. But those goals don't have any passion. They don't have any enthusiasm behind it. They don't get you out of bed. You're not excited about them. But when you have grand dream goals and you're excited about them, man, it fires you up. It gives you a passion. It gives you stuff to be moving for every day, and it busts through the procrastination. And the strategy is to make sure that you read your grand dream goals every morning and every night just before you go to bed with passion and enthusiasm. Keep putting it into your brain. Keep seeing those images of you achieving your goals over and over and over, because what you're creating is called brain cells of recognition, where your brain starts recognizing anything that will help you achieve that goal, right? And so the more brain cells we create with that embedded image of what we're creating, our grand dream goals, we see it over and over. Well, each one of those cells is vibrating at the same frequency of the grand dream goal itself. So we start attracting ourselves to it automatically. You start noticing things for it, and it fires you up. And then remember, after you read, only in the morning though, by the way, only in the morning will you ask that question that I gave you earlier, because during the day, well, the question is what 3 effective actions am I taking today to achieve my grand dream goal? You only need to ask that in the morning. At night, just read your grand dream goals with passion and enthusiasm, and your subconscious will work on it throughout the night. But we don't want our brain getting overactive when we're trying to go to sleep and keep us awake at night. So only ask this question in the morning, and then obviously take those 3 actions. You want to talk about busting through your procrastination. Have grand dream goals that fire you up and get you into motion. Networking. There is the picture of me and the governor having lunch together. And by the way, this photo came from after we were finishing lunch. Imagine being said this by Arnold Schwarzenegger. He says, "Keurig, we should do a selfie together." I'm like, oh, game on. Yeah, thank you. Because I'm not really going to ask him for a photo. And that's where this picture is. Wonderful guy. And as I said to you, is that I was asking Arnold questions about his life and his career. And he said, hey, the biggest challenge, that people have, they think that I'm a self-made man. He said, there's nothing farther from the truth. He said, bodybuilding, to be the best bodybuilder in the world. He goes, I had help. Franco Columbo, his best friend, training with him, the rest of those things, and pushing him. Joe Weider, who saw promise in him and hired him and paid him to come to Los Angeles and introduced him to people and the rest of those things. Then movie career, being one of the biggest movie stars in the world. The funny thing is, when I saw Arnold speak in Sydney, he was talking about when he was meeting with Hollywood producers and studio executives and stuff. They're saying, look, Arnold, I know you want to move into acting, but you're freakishly large. Like, you scare small children. And your name, it's so long. How's that ever going to be on a movie poster? And he goes, and they go, in your accent, you sound like you're a Nazi. Well, as he's saying that all the movie posters, Predator and Terminator and all these things are coming up behind him, and there's Schwarzenegger on it. But he said all the way along the way, and then governor, he's had help all the way along the way. He said, only weak people don't ask for help, because if you don't ask for it, you don't get it. Successful people, we ask for help, and that's how we get it. So if you're not networking, you're not working. And if you think I don't ask for help, that's not correct. By the way, I'm not going to have Arnold Schwarzenegger tell me that and then go against that. But I've been doing that my whole life anyways. If you know my story, there's a man named John Herzfeld. And John is a award-winning movie director and writer, and took me under his wing when I was 18 years old. By the way, he's Sylvester Stallone's best friend. They were roommates in college together, still very best of friends to this day. By the way, that's how I got to be friends with Sly. My first movie that I was ever in was written and directed by John Herzfeld. It's called Two of a Kind with John Travolta, Olivia Newton-John. John's introduced me to people. John taught me movie making, script writing, directing, everything. Man, helpful. But guess what? I was also that powerful force on John's movies that made sure his movies got done. And John, used to say, man, without you, this movie would have never got done, because the stuff I used to make sure happened to get that movie done for him. That's networking. Contribution. Again, guys, if you don't give it away, you can't get it back. It won't come back to you. So the universe, the law of circulation, by the way, is, think about this for a second. We want more money in our lives, let's say. Well, $1 million, right? Well, what's the real number in all of that? Well, that would be the one, because the zero means nothing. And people go, well, it really means something when it comes to money. No, it doesn't. It's a symbol that means nothing. It always means nothing. But why would we put the symbol that means nothing on the back of that number one to represent abundance or more? Well, because it's the law of circulation. If you draw the zero, it doesn't start, it doesn't stop. It represents the law of circulation, so that something has to go in order for it to come out or to produce more. And what would that be? Is adding value. The people who add the most amount of value on the planet are the people who make the most amount of money. The zeros always represent the next level of value that you're adding and how you're expanding that. I hope this expanded your mind for a second. So when it comes to working on making more income or growing the business, I don't ask, how can I make more money? I ask, how can I add more value to more people? Because that's the seed that makes you more money. But guess what? Then it's a win-win. But I'm focused on what I can do for others first. There it is, cause and effect, before I expect for myself. And so a lot of people are in sales or whatever, and they're thinking about what I can do for myself. Like, how can I get this sale, instead of how can I add value to this person I'm talking to? Because by the way, when you do that, they become customers. And not only do they become customers, they become loyal customers. Because a good customer is somebody who buys from you once or twice, and then there's a deal down the street and they're there. But a loyal customer can grow your business 3 times with no extra effort. How does it grow 3 times? Well, number one, we just stalled from number one is that they come back. Those customers come back. They're so served, they come back. Number 2, they have friends that they tell you about. And 3, when they make more money or have more money to spend, they spend more money with you. So your business exponentially grows just by being focused on giving, adding more value. And I would tell you, there's a lot of programs I do. There's a lot of workshopping I do. There's even coaching I've done for people where they can't afford it, but I know they really need it and they will apply it. But one of the stipulations is that they have to do something in order to add value back. It might not be to me, but so a lot of times I have people do community service, and they get to choose who they add value to or who they help out. But if you want value in your life, you have to give value. There's the law of circulation again. And so contribution is critically important. So make this your habit: daily consistent improvement, CDI. Improve your mindset, improve your skill sets, improve your follow-up, your follow-through abilities, improve your decisions that you're making. Make that your habit. We're regularly making decisions, that your commitment to be consistent and investing in yourself. So, JP just said, huge aha moment. I added as an alarm in the morning. Thanks, Joe. That's awesome. Pam saying, sure is. Greg saying, yep. So here we go. So if I can, I'd love to share with you. Oh, by the way, before I even go to the slide, I'd like to ask people in the chat room right now, how many people so far have gotten real value from today and also the last 2 days of this masterclass series? And if so, what are maybe 1 or 2 things that you found valuable that really was an aha moment for you, or something that's a game changer, or something that you're going to go, hey, that's the one thing I'm going to put into motion. Massive value. Thanks, Kieran. Great. Thank you. Awesome. Real value. Thank you. Thanks, Bernie. Anthony and Felice. Thank you. John. Absolutely. Right. So if I can, then I'd love to share with you something I'm very, very passionate about. I'm not here to sell you. But the thing is, look, guys, I learned this a long time ago. If I don't promote what I do to you, do for you, if I don't promote it to you, I can't help you change your life, right? You go back being the same old person doing the same old thing and nothing changes. And as I told you before, is years ago, I used to give away free books, free audio programs, free, and nobody listened to them, nobody read them, nobody showed up for the workshops. And I realized that I was doing a disservice to people because I wasn't getting them to invest in themselves. Because when you invest in yourself, you value it. And so I realized that, and I had people thinking, he's just an American wanker trying to sell me something. I'm not here to sell you anything, honestly, besides selling you on investing in yourself, whatever that is. And I've told you many times throughout this program, if it's not me, go find somebody immediately. Otherwise, the only thing out of this life is called older. This year I really wanted to learn how to be better at internet marketing and the rest of those things. Yes, I do it. I just want to get really great at it. And so I instantly put myself into action to go find the person who could teach me that. And guess what? I went through a bunch of different people. Some sounded great until I had an interview with them. And then I'm like, that's not it. To find the person that I'm getting coached by right now, right? I invest in myself and I put it into immediate action. So what I want to share with you is I call the Life Success Club. Now, the Life Success Club is the #1 most powerful personal development club in the world. It is awesome. It's been in existence since 2003. We've had thousands of members go through the Life Success Club, and the results that people produce is awe-inspiring. It's transformational. It's wonderful, right? And the Life Success Club, I'm going to share with you how the Life Success Club works, because it's huge results and a small time commitment. And the way it works is that it's a monthly downloadable automated program, right? And every month you get 2 tracks from me. One is called the core training track, and the second one is called the action track. Now, the core training track is me teaching you new strategies and concepts and all those things, and it's about 30 minutes long. And what you do is you listen to that once a week, every week of that month. Why? Consistent spaced repetition. You keep putting it in there. Remember I told you about in LA how I used to listen to an audio track every month, every day. By the way, when you're in LA, you're in traffic a lot. So a lot of times I'd be listening to the same tape over and over and over again, even in the same drive. And that's really where I developed the concept of the Life Success Club, is put those thoughts in your head. So you start thinking that way yourself. You start communicating that way yourself. You start speaking that way yourself. So you listen to the core training once a week, every week of that month. Then the action track is only about 10 minutes long. And on it, obviously, is an action to take, right? Well, you're going to listen to that action track every day. Now, by the way, with the core training track and the action track, I don't care if this is background noise when you're driving your car. It still gets in. It will seep in there. Many times I've seen him speak and certainly known him and met him and the rest of those things. Deepak Chopra, he came on an event in Hawaii I was participating in, or I was working at, and they put him on real late at night. And Deepak, because of his Indian accent and his really intense vocabulary, he says, look, there's a good chance a lot of you guys are going to fall asleep and you're going to get it anyways. So he said, because I saw we froze for a moment, he says, you may fall asleep during my presentation and you're going to get it anyways. It's going to seep in. So at the Life Success Club, I don't care if it's background noise when you're driving your car. The funny thing is I have people listening to it with their kids in their car, and their kids start talking like that. Hey, mom, you're going to put on Keurig again today? And they love it. And imagine teaching your kids this stuff at that level, right? So every day you're going to listen to the action track and you're going to take that action. Well, guess what? After 30 days, it produces a new habit. So what we're doing is we're developing those success habits. You're building your success muscles, where it becomes your habit to do these things, to think this way, to act this way, to respond this way. Well, imagine how differently your life is when you're taking consistent new actions, and those actions are your habit. So as you're seeing for 30 minutes a week and 10 minutes a day,
man, you have everything you want in your life, small time commitment, huge results. And, we talked about having strength, exercising, being excited, your 4 main muscle groups. Well, guess what we're working on in the Life Success Club? We're consistently exercising these 4 areas to make you strong. And, it's exciting because, by the way, people don't want just information. They want to be entertained as well. They want to have fun because, by the way, when you're having fun, you learn it. That's why I don't take myself too seriously. Things, see some glitches where I freeze up, or I don't care. I just hope I didn't freeze like, some crazy look on my face. But the thing is, we're going to have fun in it. And you get to network with the other members, which is awesome. And remember, here's how you're going to strike gold with it. It's got to make sense to you. It's a step-by-step plan. It definitely works. And you're going to put it into consistent and effective action. And no longer will you be one of those people that this stops you. Why? Because you got support from me and the other members. And it's easy. It's built that way. And that's why I said the results people are producing is awe-inspiring. And it's definitely consistent daily improvement. And by staying on track with doing these things, just look at what's going to happen to your life. Look at the results you're going to produce. Look at the money you're going to make, or the goals you're going to achieve, or the relationship you're going to have, or the relationship with your kids you're going to have. All those things by being consistent, by new, consistent, powerful success strategies and effective actions. And remember, success becomes easy when you make it your habit. That's the whole purpose of the Life Success Club, is to make this easy and develop those successful habits. So in the Life Success Club, you're going to create the habits that make you successful. You're going to build up your success muscles. Here's, let me go backwards here for a second. This was recently sent to me from a person in the Life Success Club. And she says, I can't tell you how many times that my day was improved by Keurig and the LSC. I listened to the programs in the car every day going to work and did each exercise as directed. I even cursed him sometimes because I wasn't sure how I was going to achieve something, or that I was ready to achieve, especially when it came to achieving a set of goals in 1 month. Once I realized it didn't need to be an expensive toy, but something that I needed to step out of my comfort zone to achieve, then I was away and heading towards it. She also says, for me, it meant that I had to improve consistently and knock off 15 minutes off my regular workout of 1 hour and 5 minutes in 1 month. It did wonders for my fitness levels and my mental health as well. I kept my head up and kept looking forward, and it seems so much easier. I have new goals now. At 58 years of age, I am now working towards a degree in a Bachelor of Applied Sciences in communication and psychology. Go for it. You will never regret making the first move. Register now. And that's from Lynn Fox. Also, Julie Chadwick says, with the strategies I learned from Keurig and the Life Success Club and all the support I got from the members, I took control of my poor health I was in. I lost over 50 pounds in a few months and turned my health around. It's like having a whole new life. Now, 50 pounds in Celsius terminology that's like 100 kilos, right? Also, you're going to not just learn these strategies, but you're going to learn how to master these strategies, because you're going to make them so consistent that it's your habit. Also, in the LSC, we have an app that you get on your phone, and this way you can download all the content and listen to it on your phone. You can listen to it in your car, on your device, whatever that is. So you don't actually have to go to the website anymore to download the content. You can, and you can comment and network and stuff on that, but also it's so easy that we have a special LSC app for you. LSC, by the way, means Life Success Club, in case you didn't pick that one up. Also, I interview other movers and shakers. This is priceless. And the reason I say it's priceless is because when you hear these interviews, without me saying anything to them, unsolicited, you'll start to hear these people share their stories of how they produced whatever success it is. And you'll hear that it's the exact same strategies that you're developing and learning in the Life Success Club. That's why this is so powerful to hear these interviews. And some of them are amazing. There's one of them that's one of my favorites is with a guy named John Fitzgerald, who wrote the book 7 Steps to Wealth. And John's a very good friend of mine, great interview. He's listened to the interview numerous times, goes, that was the best interview I've ever done. He goes, I'm going to get a copy of that. So, by the way, you join the Life Success Club. Next, you're also invited to live LSC events and workshops. Now, last one we just did just before COVID, we up here on the Sunshine Coast of Australia, people flew in for it, all kinds of stuff. I did a 2-hour live coaching with everybody. We had lunch together so you could network with the other members. And then I brought in a world champion archer. Him and his team came in and taught everybody archery. So a lot of people took it up as a hobby afterwards. They loved it. We did, let me see if I have the next slide. You'll see that we have, we took everybody to meet Richard Branson at a private party at the Brisbane airport. And people got to take pictures with him and hang out, and it was awesome. Also in New Zealand, you'll see over on the right-hand side, that's me with Michael Hill, Jula. We took people to meet Michael Hill and watch him speak. We did an event with Natalie Cook, one of my gold medalists at her volleyball facility, and we got to play beach volleyball with each other and have Natalie Cook there. If you guys can put yourself on mute, please. Let's see if I can do it. Who's not on mute? It looks like everybody is. That was a little weird playback. Oh, there we go. Also, we did wine tasting in New Zealand. You'll see at the bottom right corner, we had an event where everybody got to meet Rachel Hunter, the supermodel. And on the left-hand corner, you'll see people, that's LSC members, petting a big Bengal tiger, because we went to Dream World on the Gold Coast, and we had breakfast with the tigers. Not breakfast for the tigers, breakfast with the tigers, in which we all had a big meal together. I did a 2-hour live coaching with everybody. Then the trainers did a private training session with the tigers just for us in a private area. And then they walked some tigers out there we all got to pet and take some pictures with. And then we all went to the park and did some rides together. It's awesome. Now, these events usually cost a little bit more money, but I keep the price down where it's just so that the costs are covered. So it's not a money-making thing for us. It's just so that we end the networking and the friendships that happen, the rest of those things. So these are the Life Success Club events. And by the way, we're going to have one on this year before the year is over. And you definitely want to be it, because I'm going to tell you it's going to be awesome. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm telling you it's awesome. Plus, bonus webinars and trainings. Again, this is priceless that you're invited to. So not only are you getting the content and the learning in the program, but there's more of it. Also, is that we have a closed Facebook group, so you can network with other LSC members around the world. Again, this is priceless, because if you're not networking, you're not working. But I want you to think about this for a moment. The Life Success Club are like-minded, positive people, all working on themselves, working on being more successful, work holistically. Where do you find a group like that you get to network with? What, the bar, the pub? I don't know where you'd find it, Facebook, maybe, but this is a closed Facebook group only for members, and it's very active with members. And again, that's included in your membership in Life Success Club. And then I'm going to throw in a huge bonus. And by the way, my team, who some of them are on this call today listening, they don't even know I've added this in here. They're going to tell me I'm an idiot for doing it. But there's going to be a huge bonus that every month for the next 12 months, we're going to do a live group coaching call. Now, this value would be $9,000 easily. Matter of fact, if it was the inner circle, well, no, I take that back. It would, because that's fortnightly, but this is once a month. We're going to, and you get to bring to the table what you want to work on. It's not me just spitting out content. We're going to work on your personal goals. What are you getting hung up on? What's holding you back? And you're going to feel real momentum. Now, the call is, I'm telling you, it's going to be an hour long, but if you keep asking questions, you keep participating, I'm not time bound. I don't care if it's 2 hours, 3 hours. By the way, the value of it only goes up, but I'm here to help you achieve your outcomes by having these bonus calls. Now, I will tell you that, and again, it's about making decision, commitment, investing in yourself, all those things. You know, the investment in this is my one-on-one coaching right now is $45,000 a year. And I always have a full stable of clients. My Success Inner Circle is $15,000. That's a year long as well. The Life Success Club goes for up to 2 years now. So you can imagine what this is going to cost you. And so in it, normally it's $47 a month to join. And I'm going to offer you guys a special deal for being on this program and participating, because by the way, I reward action takers. So instead of that, we're going to do it for only $27 a month, and you can quit at any time. So there's no obligation. So if you don't get value out of a month or 1 month, God bless you, just cancel it. Easy, right? Send me an email, say, I want to cancel, whatever it is. There's no argument. You won't be trying to talk back into it. And for a limited, again, my team's going to think I'm a total idiot now, because I'm going to really wear myself thin on this one, but I don't care, because that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to serve. My mantra every day when I meditate is, how may I serve? How may I serve? So for a very limited time, there's going to be a super bonus for the first 50 people who sign up. And that is after 3 months of being in the Life Success Club, you're going to get a one-on-one session with me, a 30-minute coaching session, which is valued at $2,500. And we're going to work. And man, you want to talk about getting launched, like being pulled in a slingshot, launched. You do a one-on-one coaching with me, and what's going to come out of that, it's mind-blowing. And by the way, you know, as you see, a lot of people sign up. It's only going to be the first 50 people who sign up who are going to get this, because I'm going to run out of time, and I'm certainly not going to have a life left. But I'm here, I'm dedicated to make sure that you get your outcomes. So it's only $27 USD a month. And, you know, you can quit at any time. You get all the bonuses, you get the Facebook group, you know, you get the content, you get the app, you certainly get the group coachings for the next 12 months. And then you're going to get a one-on-one coaching with me as well. And you get invited to the other live events and the webinars and the teleseminars and all the other things that we're doing. Oop, that was the end of my slides. So I do have a link, and I'll see, Tanya, are you on a call still? Is there a way that you could put the link in the chat for me? Is that possible?
Yeah, absolutely correct. Do you want the sales page and the order form page?
No, I just think the order form page.
Yep. Okay.
And by the way, everybody on the call, Tanya is not only a wonderful, wonderful friend of mine, but Tanya's been a member of the Life Success Club since its inception in 2003. She's also the person who is really helping me put together the campaigns and the funnels and the marketing and all the rest of this stuff. She's awesome. She's awesome. And she's a Life Success Club member. And one of the reasons I reached out to Tanya about this, and you know, and we talked about it, is because I already know who she is. She's like-minded, and she understands it. And she understands the value of it. And she's gone way, way, way beyond the Call of Duty and what was even agreed on for helping me out with all of this stuff. So in the chat room, and if you ever get to meet her in person at one of the Life Success Club events, please give her a round of applause, because she's super awesome. And if you ever need any of those services, please contact Tanya. And again, you'll if you want to get her details, ask me for them or in Life Success Club.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Kirek. Yeah,
awesome.
that's awesome. Right back at you, Kirek. And guys, honestly, I've been in the Life Success Club for a long time. Not only has it helped me keep accountable with the daily actions and the daily habits, but it has, through all the adversity I've had in my life, it has helped me stay on track to not only empower and build amazing children who are now young adults, who have also attended all of Curek's events as well, but also continue to thrive in my business as well. So if you want to thrive in your business, life, career, you've got to dive into the Life Success Club.
Yes, and also just one more bonus for everybody is, guys, only one member of family, nucleus family that is, needs to sign up for the Life Success Club. And that means all the rest of your nucleus family. That means people who live with you, your kids, your partner, whatever, they can all participate with you. And you only have to pay for one membership. How abundant is that?
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So Tanya's putting the link.
I've popped the link into the order form. I will also put in the link to the sales page just in case anyone wants to actually go in there. Yep.
Yes. And remember, first come, first serve with those first 50 people who get the super limited bonus of the 30-minute one-on-one session with me, but all the rest of the bonuses you get anyways. It's a game changer. And when you think about it, and the reason I say you got to be in a Life Success Club for 3 months before you get the one-on-one is because I want you to show me how consistent you are. Because I'm not going to waste my half an hour talking to somebody who's not going to be putting this into action. Because, by the way, every sports team, every athlete I've ever worked with have all won. How is that? I cheat. I choose winners. People are willing to do what average people aren't willing to do and invest in themselves. So yeah, you got to invest 3 months, but honestly, 3 months at $27 a month, and then you get a $2,500 bonus. That doesn't sound too bad of a deal, and you can quit at any time. And God bless you. If I'm not serving you, I don't want to get paid. I will tell you that the Life Success Club, it's a game changer. It's a life changer. It's how I got to be who I am, and the achievements I've done and life I've been to live is by being so consistent with putting those thoughts into my head that it became the way I thought. It became the way I spoke. It's the way I operated in life. And that's what's produced the results. And honestly, if you see me in normal life walking around, people go, God, he's just like he is on stage. He's like a real guy. And it sure seems like he's having fun and he's enjoying his life. And the time I get to spend with my son that most people don't, right? All those things that came from exactly what we're talking about. So join the Life Success Club. I mean this sincerely. If it's not me to help you, please go find somebody immediately. Don't let your goals and dreams die. Don't look at your life when you look back at it and you go, God, I wish I would have done something different with it. I will tell you personally that I told you about my father. When my father was dying, I saw a lot of regret for the life he didn't get to live. And he said to me, I should have listened to you because you did it differently. And it sure seems like you're having fun. Don't be that person. Be the person that you look back over your life and you go, this was awesome. Because the purpose of your life is to enjoy it at the highest level. And when you do that, you win. As you see, this means a lot to me. So I hope to see you again. I hope the program is of value. And I thank Tanya for all that she's done to put this together. And I thank you guys for participating. And like I said, the replays will start today. And listen to them, master them. I'm giving you 30 days. I should have a cloth here to wipe my nose, but sorry, get a little emotional. But participate in life. The only way to fail at life is the failure to participate. Until I talk with you again, have a most outstanding day.